right. Elise Carver. Thank you so much. Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning? This beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. Welcome to our spiritual community. We are here to celebrate love. I want to remind everybody of the vision here at Unity of Tucson. It is this: we envision a place of peace, beauty, and power where spiritual principles are taught and practiced within an ever-growing and dynamic congregation. And boy, we're living in a dynamic experience these days in a very different way than probably any of us ever expected. Let us remember to work together to spread the love because we are the love. Let us celebrate the good by knowing we are good, and let us celebrate truth by knowing we are the truth. Be the beacon of light. And I'm going to encourage everyone to get up and dance, and we're going to run this video again. Remember, you can still submit your videos of you dancing or waving, whatever you want to do. Here we go. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the light in you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. You know, I was thinking, in the sense that we come together, we're in this virtual fashion. You know, we have people who watch from all over the world. We have a particular person who watches from Nigeria. We have people who I know watch from Cuba. We have people who watch everywhere. And what I would love for you to do is to let people know where you are watching from. Now, many of you may be watching from Tucson or the Tucson area, but we want to know, where are you watching from today? Let us know. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and God loves you too. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, in every walk of life, in every creed and color, in kinship we unite. Next to you, say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. Oh, yes, we do come together in the name of love. Once again, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this beautiful Sunday morning. We here at Unity of Tucson, we are a spiritual community teaching practical tools for a better life. That's at least what I have taken from embracing the New Thought philosophy in my life, is that it provides practical tools for me to engage a spiritual practice, and my life has gotten infinitely better because of that. So it is my belief that we can precipitate our own spiritual evolution, and that's my goal. I am engaged in and excited about precipitating spiritual evolution so that we can create a world that works for all. Let us begin, of course, as always, with the understanding of the words of our mission here at Unity of Tucson. They're going to come up on your screen like that. Let's read this together. And remember, as we read this together, let's not read it by rote. Let's really see how this feels as we read it together. Here we go. Within the principles of unity, we are a ministry of love, inspiration, learning, wholeness, acceptance, and joy that empowers all people to embrace their divine nature. Yes. So the mission is a practical way to engage that vision. I believe that personal transformation is possible. In fact, it is probable. And it is our work to awaken to our inner magnificence and allow that inner magnificence to shine. Everything we do, everything I offer here is in service to this goal. And so the tenets of this vision, of this vision in ministry that I carry with me, they're simple, and they are as easy as we decide for them to be. And they are these: love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And in remembering who we are, I know a particular truth about you, and it is this: you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. Use the chat function for a moment in whatever place you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, and acknowledge the community that are watching with you. This is your spiritual family that are watching with you. Acknowledge them. Let them know that you recognize them as part of your spiritual family, and express to them your understanding of their magnificence in your own unique, individualized way. And so, of course, I want to say hello and welcome to Karen, who's in the room today, and let you know I see you. I know you are magnificent. Jeffrey, way in the back, you are magnificent. Lydia, grateful to have you here. You are magnificent. And of course, these magnificent musicians, thank you all for being here. And I see you. I know you are magnificent. Yeah. As you allow that magnificence to be expressed, I'm going to encourage you and invite you, once you have found that space, to accept the magnificence and share the magnificence, recognizing that we are in an infinite circulation of magnificence, that's all that's ever going on. Let yourself be rooted into that construct. And I will provide this month's affirmation rooted in the theme of this month, which is freedom song. Freedom song, allowing ourselves to know that the song we sing that flows forth from our heart space is a song of freedom, and that as we embrace that song, we experience infinite freedom. And so this month's affirmation can serve as a mantra during this time of quiet, this time of centering, this time of meditation. The affirmation is this: freedom is the birthright of my infinite soul. Freedom is the birthright of my infinite soul. And so if you haven't already, and it's safe and comfortable for you to do so right where you are, I invite you to close your eyes. Allow yourself to settle into that idea, the idea of the affirmation with each breath. As you breathe in, freedom is the birthright of my infinite soul. And then share that as you breathe out. Freedom is the birthright of my infinite soul. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. You are held in the hands of protection from a mother's warm embrace. You are held in the hands of grace. You are indeed held in the hands of grace, where I recognize and know that there is only grace. There is only love. There is only infinite wisdom and power flowing forth as all creation. And this is who and what each and every one of us is. This I know, this I accept. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace. Going to invite Lydia to join me. Good morning, Lydia.
Good morning, Reverend Jennifer.
Grateful to have you here. Thank you for helping me out today with our ceremony, our ritual called Lighting the Flames of Faith. We do this ceremony each week, this ritual, in order to honor the faith traditions and the religious paths, the spiritual ideologies of the entire world, with this recognition that for each candle that we light in honor of a particular path, we are understanding that each and every one of them is rooted in that divine golden thread of love. And so we light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. There we go. I can't leave the it can't have. Here we go.
That's the one that has the three.
There we go.
Thanks.
Yeah, there we are. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle which represents the healing of any circumstance which requires divinity to be revealed. For that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of the divine creative energy at the core of all creation, at the core of every experience, all of it rooted in and as God. And so this is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you. The candle here to your left is our peace candle. And we keep the peace candle consistently illuminated with the understanding that it is indicative and represents the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And as we acknowledge the peace in our hearts more and more, we allow that to spread forth from our beingness to envelop the entire world. And we create a world of peace. So let's honor this candle by reading together the prayer for world peace. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established and peace begins to reign in the world. So you may have noticed we have a special, oh, I've just messed it all up for you. I'll fix it for you. We have a special guest today. I think that's where it was. There we go. Our guest today is 1/4 of a musical family, 2/4, 1/2 of which are also represented on this stage. She is a magnificent musician, and I've been so grateful to get to know her, and I know that she's going to bless us all with this magnificent song she's chosen to do today. Please welcome Elise Carver.
So much, Jonathan. It's great to be here with you all today. Shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck, and you're not moving anywhere, but you've always had a friend to take you out of this place. Someone you could lend a hand in return for grace, and it's a beautiful day. Day breaks, you feel like it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. You're on the road, and you've got your destination. You're in the maze of your imagination. You love your life, though sometimes it doesn't ring true. Been all over, and it's been all over you, and it's a beautiful day. Let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Shades and hues, see the planet awaken anew, see the brilliant stars at night, see the mountains at first light, and see the bird with the leaf in her mouth. After the flood, all the colors come out. And it's a beautiful day. No, I'm
Thank you so very much. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Indeed it is. There's a funny thing that happens with pop music. You know, sometimes it just plays and you don't really tune into the lyrics of a song that closely when you hear it on the radio. And there's also that part of me that goes, I can't remember lyrics as well as I used to. I can sing pretty much any pop tune from the 80s along with it if it plays on the radio, but anything that I try to learn now, I have a really hard time learning the lyrics to. It's just the brain. It's what happens, I guess. But thank you, Elise, for that. That's a perfect song for today, deepening into that recognition that we all create our beautiful days. That is what we are here to do, to create our beautiful days. So perfect, perfect, perfect message for today. So some of you may have noticed, if you follow what happens on the internet, that I took a week off from doing my daily mindful moments, and I, kind of went into a period of rejuvenation and renewal in a private way, just allowing myself to settle back into just having some quiet time. And it was really necessary, and I do want to say I feel refreshed and renewed and excited, and it's been really a great opportunity for that this week. So don't worry, the Mindful Moments begin again tomorrow on Monday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and I will be coming to you every single weekday moving forward until the next time I decide that I'm going to take a week off. But one thing that I'm excited about that happened this week is I also started as a student in a new class, and it's part of what is going to be my pathway to becoming a Unity minister. In the reciprocal agreement between the Centers for Spiritual Living and Unity Worldwide Ministries, I take a few classes, and then I do a panel, and I become a Unity minister, and I'm super excited about that. But this week, I started the class, the 12 Powers, and so far, it's such a great class. I've had one class, but it is such a great class, and I'm really enjoying the instructor for the class, Reverend David McClure. And I was really struck with how in alignment everything always is. If we really settle back into the understanding that if we are open to it, we recognize and know the alignment in all aspects and areas of our life. And it was no mistake that I wanted to talk about shining our light this week as part of our freedom song, and that the class led off with this idea. It talked about divine audacity, and there's a book that we'll be reading called Divine Audacity, and this concept of that which is within us, that divine urge within us to express our boldness. Basically the call to say we must be bold, we must be willing to step forward and be bold and shine our light, to not hold back. We should never hold back, especially we should never hold back if it's because we have a concern about what others think. That can be hard, can't it? Because we all want to be loved, we all want to appeal to everyone, and you know what? We're not going to appeal to everyone. It's one of the hardest lessons I learned in ministry. My appeal will not translate to every single person in the world, but I will appeal to those to whom I appeal, and that's a good thing because we can call each other family. We can call each other family. So it was great. It was a great reminder to me of why I choose to be in this particular field and allow myself to express my divine audacity, to allow myself to be bold, and to think about things in ways that I have never thought about them before, and allow that to flow forth into my experience, and to teach each and every person with whom I come into contact that we all have this capacity at heart level. At the core of each and every one of us, we have this capacity. As I was considering this concept of being bold, I started thinking about, what is it? Is it ego-driven that I can let myself be gregarious on stage? Is it ego that is pushing me forward, or is it something else? Now, I think of ego in two different ways. I can think of ego as this idea. I can think of ego as edging God out, or I can think of ego as entertaining God only. And which side of the equation do I choose to be on at any given time? Because ego literally means I am, and when we are rooted in the I am, that may look to other people as audacious, which is oftentimes considered a negative construct. But I don't choose to think of it as a negative construct. I choose to understand it that I am standing firm in my power to be bold, to allow myself to entertain God only because that is who and what I am. It is who and what each and every one of us is. And so I looked to Lessons in Truth as I was preparing today, and boy, there was this great quotation that came up. It's long. I'm just going to give you fair warning, but I want to read the whole thing to you. In Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady wrote this: "We cultivate individuality by listening to the still, small voice down deep within us and boldly following it, even if it does make us different from others, as it surely will. We cultivate personality in which live pride, fear of criticism, and all manner of selfishness. By listening to the voices outside ourselves and by being governed by selfish motives instead of by the highest within us. Seek always to cultivate or to bring into visibility individuality, not personality." Now, this struck me in an odd way because I have always considered the relationship between personality and individuality to be intrinsically linked. And that's how I have come to understand the nature of personality. Now, I do agree, personality is an outward expression. Personality is addressing the things out in the world of form, and the individuality is the cause. It is that innate thing behind all expression. That is our individuality. But what I've always said is our individuality, being the unique embodiment, translates itself into our personality, which is our outer expression. But what I think she's actually talking about here is when we allow ourselves to be moved by the things out in the world of form and forget who we are, that's when we can go off the rails. That's when we can become governed by selfish motives instead of the highest and the best, which is within each and every one of us. So today, I have a lot of questions today. And, as I well, with basically nobody in the room, I don't necessarily have to preface this because you can't answer back to me as easily, but I used to say all the time, these are rhetorical questions for your consideration, your contemplation. But I will say, allow yourself to resonate with the question and see what comes up for you. The first question is this: can we cultivate our outer expression based on our inner embodiment? Can we cultivate our outer expression based on our inner embodiment? What comes up for you when I ask that question? Now, intellectually, because of the things that you may have been taught in the unity principles or in the New Thought ideals, whatever your path has been, you may intellectually say, oh, well, of course, our outer expression is based on our inner embodiment of an idea, and it is simply flowing forth into expression at all times, no matter what. But to what degree are you living that truth from a heart center? To allow yourself to let go and let God, to truly allow the free flow of divine ideals, the free flow of divine ideas. Can the personality, that outward expression, truly be a reflection of our innate individuality, that aspect of divinity which is unique to us and shows up as wholeness in the expression of our lives? Can the personality be a reflection of our innate individuality? I believe that it can. And that is the whole point and purpose of spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is meant to elicit that very notion in and as us, to allow our personality to be the outward expression of our individuality. The benefit of spiritual work and the spiritual work that we do, each and every one of us, the benefit of the manner and understanding of our approach to spirituality is the elimination of any concepts of degrees within that. To say that there is something here that is outwardly expressed separate from that which is within each and every one of us, is to say that there are degrees of expressing our God selves. There absolutely is no degree. Last week I said it. You can never be more spiritual than you are right here and right now for 100% of you. All the form and matter which makes up your beingness, that spiritual life force at the core of you, it is all spirit. There's absolutely no separation. So you can never be more spiritual than you are right now. You can act in ways that are in accordance with the concepts of spirit, your spiritual nature, which is love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy. Or you can act opposite those things. That's up to you. That is a choice that we make. And we make those choices at the level at the level of awareness and below the level of awareness. The benefit of spiritual practice, and the reason I mentioned it earlier, my life has gotten better through spiritual practice. I have precipitated my own spiritual evolution through spiritual practice. The benefit of that is to know that within that, as I allow myself to express more spiritually, or at least in the concepts of spirituality that people would say, oh, it's much more spiritual than that. There is no degree, but the degree to which I allow myself to be in the flow of divinity, life just gets better. Life just gets better. There are no degrees of spirit, God, source. There is only spirit. There is only God. There is only source. If we try to disengage our lives from our inherent divine nature, to think that we live lives that are less than, we open ourselves to discord. Discord is always, 100% of the time, discord in the experience of life is always the result of a sense of separation from that innate divine power at the core of each and every one of us. And so our work is to bring ourselves consistently back to recognizing ourselves as source. In a roundabout way, these last few weeks, I've been talking about the tenets of the ministry that I have carried in my heart. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And today is really about remembering who you are. You are source. That innate life force within you, expressing as you, is God. There is no separation. You know, in the tradition from which I come, the founder of religious science, Ernest Holmes, very famously said, well, actually, I'm going to take that back. Not so famously, because it actually came up later in his life in a series of seminars he gave in the late 50s. And a lot of the religious science paradigm is rooted in the 1920s. But in the 50s, he actually recanted some of what he was writing about in the 20s. And there's one thing in particular that he said that I think is really important. He said that there is no separation between the absolute and the relative. The relative is the absolute at the level of the relative, at the level of its conscious expression and awareness. And so our work is to expand our conscious awareness. It is to expand our awareness to that which we innately are. Remember who you are. And in remembering who we are, we change the world. We've all been given a gift right now. We have all been given a gift. Now, a lot of us are not recognizing this gift as a gift. But today, I am choosing to recognize this gift as a gift. And I'll tell you, it is rooted in the time that I took away from the expression of my ministry to step back and say, I need to live in the impression of who and what I am. And I had the capacity to do this by stepping away from expressing and letting myself have that period of quiet, that period of contemplation, that period of spiritual renewal. We are living in a time when all of this experience we are having can allow us to focus on our spiritual path, on our spiritual growth. What I am choosing to understand is that as we have stripped away so much of what we enjoy in this life, the comfort, the convenience, seeming freedom, although I think we're infinitely more free now than we ever have been before because we have stripped away some of the things that we tie ourselves to in the world of form. When we strip away those things, what are we left with? We're left with one thing. We are left with cause. Because all of that stuff out there, all the comfort, all the convenience, that's all form, that's all effect. And we teach that all effect is the result of an inner innate causative consciousness. So I choose to live this 4th month of social distancing, of feeling separate, of having to mask ourselves, which there's a whole talk in that. Maybe I'll give that talk next week. What's behind the mask? Now, I can tell you what's behind the mask. I don't even have to do a whole talk around it. What's behind the mask is God. And if you can consider that, every time you are taking your mask, that it is God being God, it's going to make this entire experience a lot easier. But to root back to the cause of all things, that first cause, that infinite idea that said, I am, that is flowing forth in and as creation, it is the lesson that we can take from this time. When we do this, we can tap into that which is divinely audacious, because God has no issue whatsoever expressing itself boldly, and it does so by means of our expression and experience. So today, I choose to ask this question of myself during this time of separation, or seeming separation, from the things in the world of form which have brought me a level of comfort. But once taken away, see, that's how I know that we can absolutely change our minds around how this all shows up, is that once those things were seemingly taken away from us, how did we manage? Because I will tell you, it is easier to manage that when you know who you are, because it is not tied up in the things out there. And I'm not saying that I have done this brilliantly. I am saying that there are things out there that I have thought, oh gosh, that's gone away. In fact, the experience and expression of having people in the room is something that brought me comfort. And I wrote an email. I wrote an email to Karen yesterday, or the day before. I can't remember if it was yesterday, the day before, or the day before that. And I said, this has been really hard. And I've expressed that from this very platform. This has been really hard because I find comfort in the things. But what I always root back to is that the cause is love. And when I am in that, then I can allow myself to say, you know what? I'm still connected with every single person that is engaged in this spiritual community in a different way right now. And that is going back to cause and saying, I know who I am. The form has simply shifted. The cause is still 100% there. So let us root back to the cause of all things. That is the lesson. That is the lesson. When we do this, tapping into that which is divinely audacious, ask yourself the question, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Because I've had a lot of chats with ministers who feel like this is the greatest challenge to ministry they've ever faced. Now, I've been a minister for just about a decade now, and there are ministers who've been in the field much, 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 much longer than I have, who are saying, I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. And I just keep saying, what can I do? What is mine to do? How do I move forward? Not I can't, rather I can. In this experience, Can we turn away from the disappointments that we perceive and allow ourselves to turn toward the infinite possibility that exists? Infinite possibility and potential is the nature of spirit. It is the nature of God. It is the nature of source. And so that is our nature, for we are the identity of God in form living its life. Each and every one of us. And so, infinite possibility and potential being its nature is our nature. How are we choosing to use this today? Are we creating more of the same? Are we trying to rip that idea of what used to be from the past and allow it to be wrenched into what is to unfold? Are we creating more of the same? Or are we taking this opportunity to say, that wasn't working. Let us create the world we desire, the world we require. Do we feel defeated by the perception of challenge in this experience? Or can we rise above the effects of the world and say, I know who I am? That magnificent song, Beautiful Day, it's a message of rising up. It is a message of knowing deeply and innately that despite appearances, the beautiful day is rooted in an inner experience. And when we accept that, that's what shows up. The root of all life is metaconditional. I made that word up. Metaconditional. We talk a lot about metaphysical here. But today I'm really talking about the effects, the conditions of the world. And metaconditional, meta meaning beyond, it means transcendent. Metaconditional means transcending the conditions. And that is where life begins. Our philosophy is not just metaphysical. It is metaconditional. It is beyond the conditions. It is up to us to put this idea into action, for we are the activity of God, letting itself be known in all things. And it is up to us to be self-reliant in this, and that's where the audacity comes in, to allow ourselves to say, I know who I am. I lead my life with deep self-reliance, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I am that I am. In what way will you express life today beyond conditions? And there is no need to look outside the self, for the outside the self conditions will align themselves in accordance with what is within. That is the nature of God. Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16 speaks to this. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine. The Father that is referenced, the Father in heaven. Now, there are those who will say, well, that is saying that God is something out there, because people will say God is God out there, some personality out there, which has ideas and constructs and has dominion over what we can conceive of as less than. But that's not what the Father means. The Father is that innate creative source at the core of each and every one of us. It is that energy of creation. And heaven is consciousness. Heaven is a state of mind. So when it says, glorify your Father in heaven, that means to glorify the innate creative source, which is your consciousness. It is your state of mind. There is absolutely no separation. And when we let our light shine, we are letting that innate creative source flow forth as creation. We can only change the experience of life for the better by being better. Being better means shining those God qualities: light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy, love only And we do so with compassion, cooperation, and consideration. As we do it with compassion, cooperation, and consideration for all those who are around us by letting our light shine with that at the core, all of the discord that we are experiencing will dissipate. I believe this. I believe this. Because I keep experiencing a lot of discord. And it's because we have stepped away from compassion. We have stepped away from cooperation. We have stepped away from consideration. And we are saying that there is separation. I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to embody this principle and allow my light to shine, knowing that my light is your light, and the light itself is letting itself be known. This also means that the concepts of space and time have no place in this consideration. To believe that there is a supremacy of matter, of things out there, to believe that there is a supremacy of matter takes us away from cause. Now, what do I mean by that? Let us eliminate from our minds, here's what I mean. Let us eliminate from our minds the belief that any space is more sacred than another. This room in which I stand right here and right now is no more sacred than the space you inhabit right where you are. Let us decide to build the sacred space all around us. We feel challenged right now by not being able to gather in this room. Is it because tacitly on some level, whether at the level of awareness or below the level of awareness, we have decided that this space is more sacred than another? It is not. Right where you are is equally as sacred as any other space at any other time in all of eternity. Now, I know that we are all looking forward to the day when we can return to this building. I know that we are looking forward to the day when we can greet our spiritual family in person and all hug. And while we know that in the current expression of divinity, it is not wise at this time, for God is expressing wholly in a manner that is not conducive to this right now, but it is God expressing. This building is simply a building. It is consciousness that creates the space we desire. And so let us step into that idea of being metaconditional, because the building is a condition. And our innate wholeness is beyond that condition. Our work is to spread the light wherever we are. The entire world can be a sanctuary. The entire world, in fact, the entire universe can be a sanctuary. I ask you today, what is it that you have done to create a sanctuary, a sacred space in your own home? And I ask myself that question. I will never ask you a question that I don't actually look at and reflect upon myself to say, am I walking the talk? Am I, practicing what I preach? What have any of us done to create a sanctuary or a sacred space in our home? What makes anything sacred? It is the conscious idea of something as sacred that makes it sacred. When I was studying, before I went into the ministerial path, I was studying to become a practitioner of religious science, which is very much like the licensed unity teacher. And in the practitioner class, we had a whole section of the course that was devoted to really understanding the sacred nature of all things. And we were tasked with this idea. Take something that feels mundane, an everyday, ordinary task, and allow yourself to make it a sacred experience. And so I thought about what is the most mundane, ordinary task that I don't really enjoy doing. What is it out there that I could turn into a sacred experience? And I figured it out. I really hate cleaning the bathroom. I mean, who really enjoys cleaning the bathroom, right? Because you got to get in there, you got to scrub the soap scum off the tub, you got to, take the toilet brush, and you got to do those things, right? To maintain a nice and clean environment. And so I wrote an entire paper about making that a sacred experience and about what it meant, what each aspect of that meant. What did it mean to take that soap scum away, to allow ourselves to realize that we have this buildup in our own lives that sometimes we need to simply strip away from our own experience, and so on and so forth. In what way have you created a sanctuary in your own home? Decide today, this is the message, decide today that in shining our light and being metaconditional, decide today that the entire world is your church. It begins at the place you have decided to call home, and it extends from there. And everyone whom you encounter is the impressive expression of God. And let us treat each and every one of them with respect, whether we are being met with a same level of respect. Let us treat all others with respect. That's the work. That is letting our light shine. Move beyond the conditional. Be an advocate and expression of the metaconditional. Shine your light and make it a beautiful day. Namaste. As the band makes its way up, I invite you now to take into your heart some kernel of truth, some idea, and any idea that you can walk away with that may have touched you today. I say a lot of things, and I go on a lot of tangents. But here's what I know. I'm allowing that source to just express and speak through me. That's really what I'm here to do. So allow whatever kernel of truth you can walk away with today, let it be fully present in your heart right here and right now. As you consider that, with a breath, let us settle into this Kundalini blessing. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on. Thank you. I'm going to invite you now to step into a sense of gratitude for all that you receive and all that you give in this thing called the interplay of life that expresses itself as Unity of Tucson. And this is the time in our celebration where we give financially to support the work that we are doing here. And I'm going to encourage you to take charge of that in your own life and know that your support means the world to us because it means that we can continue to be here. You know, giving and receiving are two aspects of one coin, and as we give, so we receive, and we keep everything in infinite circulatory flow. Money is God in action. I have no issue with talking about money because it is a necessary part of our expression of life here in the way that we have chosen for it to be. So I encourage you to give online today by going to unitytucson.com, clicking on the link there to give. You can use your credit or debit card to do that. It's completely safe and secure to do that through the portals that we've created and use for that. You can also phone in your card when we are here in the office, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. those are our regular office hours. Give us a call here. Or you can, of course, always send in a check, and we are happy to accept and to continue to give in the way that we can and keep it all in circulation. To honor and bless this time of giving, let us read together the divine givingness statement. Here it comes up on your screen. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to my spiritual center, knowing that it goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless, and returns to me multiplied abundantly. I thankfully acknowledge God as my source. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, joy gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Well, of course, I do want to say thank you to everybody who has made today possible. First of all, thank you, Lydia, for helping me out today, for holding the space in the room and helping light the candles. I want to say thank you to Wally and to Don, my father Don, for helping ensure that the technical aspects of this unfold magnificently so we can be virtual during this particular time. And of course, I want to say thank you to this magnificent band for all that you offer in terms of the musical brilliance that you express and every single week. And I'm so, as I say every week, I'm so grateful that I get to play with you. I really want to say thank you to Elise Carver for being our guest musician today, for helping illuminate us. I'm so grateful to you.
For having me.
Thank you so much. Yes. As we complete our time here, I'm going to invite you to share with me the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am that light. The love of God enfolds me. I am that love. The power of God protects me. I am that power. The presence of God watches over me. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever God is, I am. And so it is. Amen. Now there is peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Thank you, God, for peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Can't help it, one less or more, and we've all got the same treasure in store. That's why I'm loving every living thing. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. It makes me feel so good, I can do most anything. I believe him in my guiding light. Well, no matter what comes, it always turns out right. I just dig down to how I feel. I take a deep breath and then